I'm in the Fitzallen Square area of Sheffield, and I thought I'd do Pond Street area and surrounding area. So I'm going to walk down to Flat Street, then into Pond Street. I'm noticing one thing at the moment: Sheffield's looking busier. So as things are starting to pull back, guess what? They're actually lifting inflation. Went up, I think, 0.5% this week. So just here where the Mecca was the old Odeon cinema. I can never remember going in here, but I wish I could have gone in because it looks quite nice for a modern cinema. And over there, where you can see Admiral, that's a modern building, but at one bit there used to be a newsreel cinema next to it, and you could go in and watch normal films back in the 1970s, because I went to watch a film there with a family, but it wasn't a very nice cinema, and that burnt down. Strange how some of these old buildings burn down into it. But it's a very dead area now. It's Fitzallen Square, but it would have been teeming with life. Like over there was the Marples Hotel pub. But it's pretty dead nowadays around here. We're supposed to be in the central bus station, and there's no people around here. Now, I went into Rotherham for the first time on the bus a few weeks ago, and their bus station was absolutely packed with people, quite normal. I thought Sheffield wanted to encourage people onto the buses. I've only ever known Pond Street with the concrete buildings down the side, where you can see the Academy, which would have been Steely's or Roxy's in the past. Well, all that area sort of had a ramp with flower beds coming down, and then further beyond, which is the Odeon, which was the Fiesta Club, that was like back-to-back housing. So this area, even without a bus station, was thriving with people. But at one bit we had the hole in the road, and that connected the bus station up to the centre of Sheffield, and you come down areas like this from the hole in the road or further along. There are escalators up here taking you up to the hole in the road, where you can see steps there. Well, what I've done is I couldn't remember it, but when you come to this top end of the bus station, there was like a walkway from this top end of the bus station across to the other side, across to there. So from the left hand side to the right hand side, there used to be lifts up from Pond Street, then you walk across, and then you come into here, and then there'd be further lifts up taking you up to the hole in the road. So that's the old, where it says Odeon Cinema up there, that's the old Fiesta. Sort of disappeared at the same time as the I'm trying to think what they call it now. There's a theatre in central Sheffield, and I can't remember its name now, and I should do. It's completely gone off my head, but it'll come back to me in a minute. Yeah, the Crucible Theatre. Can't believe I can't remember it. So about I remember first going to watch a pantomime in 1974 in the Fiesta when I was at school, and it's sort of about that time of that being built, the Fiesta disappeared, which is a real shame, because the top acts came Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones and people like that. But this area here had so much more life. There were shops in, chip shop and various other things. And then I think it was Studios 5, 6, 7, I could be wrong. I remember going up escalators past this, or coming down steps past cinemas. It was so much more full of life around here. It's been taken over by the university over here. Well, I think they took it over a while ago, but it's more modern buildings. But what I want to show you is, get round to it. That's new flats being built. I'll get you a better angle on it. So that's actually bang on Flat Street. It's new flats being built, probably, well, they say it's for students, I think, but there's just too many student flats being built in Sheffield. And my guessing is they're turning Sheffield into a smart city. And it's also been suggested to me it's for housing all the immigrants that's coming across at the moment from Africa. They just want to bring them in for cheap labour. Can't get the Europeans in for cheap labour anymore. So let's bring the Africans in. Let's turn a blind eye to it, and let's try and bring the wages down again. So this is a bus station. It's just dead, absolutely. There's hardly anybody in it. I used to come in here. It was always the bus into Sheffield, and because it was so much cheaper. But it was also, I came from Dunnington, Anston, and it was like about 13 miles out. It used to be about 25 minutes on the bus. There were fast line buses into Pond Street. Now those buses take about 50 minutes. I can actually cycle in quicker now. I can actually get in on the bus, and what they're doing is, rather than coming straight into Sheffield, they're going down every street they can find. I mean, I just can't understand it. Are people too lazy to walk a quarter of a mile or half a mile to the bus stop now? When you consider the obesity in the UK, they should be actually pushing people to walk to bus stops, not actually having a bus stop stopping outside their house. But it's absolutely dead. That's the sort of main interchange where you come in, you get inquiries on various other things. It's all modernised, because I do recommend going on to Google and actually looking at past pictures of Pond Street on the images. And at one bit, all this area here, it was just like a flat area where buses could come with small little bus stops. And now you've got these buildings and they're absolutely empty. But also, I think the tram came up here as well. The transport interchange, or the way that they get from one part of the transport system to the other, isn't very good in Sheffield. I know Holland is far better. So you've got a multi-storey car park under the old Roxy, Steely's nightclub. Up there you've got Fiesta, but which is now the Odeon Cinema. I think there's also a betting, like a betting place up there. But just look, there's nobody in these things. It was absolutely packed on a Saturday. Just can't believe it. And like I said, I went in Rotherham, and their bus exchange is absolutely heaving with people. But like I said, I come from Anston, Dinnington. I think it's going to take me 50 minutes on bus at least. And I'm going to get jerked to death on the way in. I'm going to come in on car. Sod Sheffield City Council and their anti-cars, because I tell you, it's laughable that they used to be anti-cars, but then they used to have all the car parking spaces for all their employees coming into Sheffield, who probably didn't even live in Sheffield, living in the leafy suburbs, and they had all their car parking spaces. There's nobody in. It's absolutely deserted. We're on a Saturday. There's nobody in Sheffield, well, nobody in the bus station. The numbers in Sheffield, when you look around, are being increased by the number of students here, or people living in the centre of Sheffield, but the original Deedars, people like me, aren't coming into Sheffield. Well, I'm coming into Sheffield on a Saturday, but not to work anymore. So I think these are mostly university buildings around here. But this has changed in the last few years. But it used to be a lot more thriving, but like I said, go on to Google, look at the pictures of Pond Street from the 1950s and look how up there it was like a ramp coming down with flower beds, and then further along up here would have been back-to-back type housing with people, and then along here would have been a tram route, and then around here it was just like a very open bus station with little bus stops all over it. But I can't believe how the back end of Pond Street's changed as well, because when I was looking at the pictures, even back from the 1980s, there was old buildings all along the back of there, and I don't know if it was flats or whether it was industrial usage, but I forgot about that, and it's like they're gradually erasing our past, and because they do it so slowly and subtly, you don't notice the changes. So that's Hallam University, which was originally, we knew it as a polytechnic, and now they've upgraded it and called it a uni. As you can look, there's hardly any buses in either. They used to be absolutely packed. You can watch videos of Pond Street with all the buses coming out at the same time. But this really reminds me, there's an interchange at Meadow Hall for the train, and it reminds me, it just looks like that one now, but there's nobody in that one either. But you'd expect it, but we're in the middle of a town centre. As you can see, there's hardly any buses in. But they spent an awful lot of money actually on the bus interchange. It was a lot more rough and ready when I used to use it back in the 80s, but it was actually thriving with people. There's no buses in it. What's Sheffield City Council playing about at? Same again, no buses in, so where are they all? Now all this area, from the pictures, well I can't remember it, but it was here not long ago, back in the 80s. These were all older buildings, which I think were either flats or industrial use. I'm going to go back up to that side of the bus station, because there's the old Queen's Head and there's also the Penny Black. So I will come back to that. I'll probably stop the video. There's a walkway from the train station, Midland train station, into the bus station. But it used to be far better when you was going into town. You could get straight up the escalators and up the hole, into the hole in the road, and that would take you right up to the top of, halfway up High Street, bottom of Fargate. So they didn't even need to open umbrellas some days if it was throwing it down with rain. So we're just walking down to Midland Station at the moment. Now Sheffield did have two stations, Victoria and Midland, and it's just amazing that it was Victoria was shut down in the 60s and 70s, you know, sort of lowered and then eventually closed. We had an electrified line to Manchester through the tunnels in the Pennines. Absolute, why would you shut down a line between Sheffield and Manchester that was electrified? Now I think it's taken a ridiculous time to get from Manchester to Sheffield on the train. I think it's some, you know, and they were doing it in half that time or even less back in the 70s. Now that it's the other thing is it's like carrying goods from Sheffield to Manchester. Why carry them across roads on the Pennines when you could take them through the trains, tunnels and trains? Because during winter, and it's going to come back again, you're going to end up with lots of snow again, and it's going to be a problem transporting goods across the Pennines. Sheffield United is playing at home today, so I think that's why you see more, well, we see a lot of police around. Got the Howard Hotel just here. For anybody who hasn't been to Sheffield for a long time, it's just going to be like gobsmacked with what's going off in the city. I mean, I feel lost at times, and I've been coming in for the last 2 years since the lockdown. I don't recognise Sheffield. So I'm just going to point from here what's around. Just there's the showroom cinema, small little cinemas, quite nice, but I like the big screens. Then if you come down here, got the old tram sheds, and then down here is the lead mill, and at the moment I think they're trying to push the existing people out of the lead mill, and lead mill's quite a institution all around the UK with acts on, singers, and I think what they want to do is I think they want to probably kick them out and actually build more flats around there. That's my thing on it. Coming back around here, where you can see the multi-storey car park. Just here there I think used to be massive British Rail offices just there. You can see just here like a stainless steel wall, and water used to come down it. I don't know if it still does. So for some reason they kept the Midland station, which is on the Midland line, and the Victoria station. They shut down the Great Central line, and the line across to Manchester that was electrified. I just can't work it out. It used to be lovely walking up to the Victoria station. It was like a ramp up with Victorian lampposts on it. But they've spent an awful lot of money on the Midland station since. But to be honest with you, I think they shut the wrong station down. I'll zoom in on it so I don't have to walk across the road. If I show you that, you can actually see the water cascading down the stainless steel wall. That's all about Sheffield and stainless steel. So there you've got the Midland station. It makes me laugh really. I'm actually in the middle of Sheffield, and it's actually quieter than it was in Bowtry yesterday. I'm in what's supposed to be a sleepy market town called Bowtry, and I've never known somewhere so polluted and so noisy. And I'm on a main artery road in Sheffield, which I do expect it to be quite bad, and it doesn't sound as noisy. So that's the Midland station, East Midland line. Goes through the centre of the country. But if you've not been to Sheffield for a while and you come in on the train, you're going to come out of the train station and think, where am I? So that's another Hallam University building. For all this area, like I said, I don't know if it was flats originally or whether it was industrial use, but it's all been wiped out and put these modern buildings in on it. Sheffield Tap Pub there. Try and show you back up there. There's a few buildings to get your bearings on, but not much. It's quite nice now, blue sky in places and white clouds, but I did notice yesterday the sky was blue, the clouds were white, and there was no chemtrails. This morning when I got up, it was the same again, blue sky and white clouds, but there were chemtrails everywhere. So I don't know why we get them some days and not others. I think the reason is that some days it's actually contrails, which is natural pollution from planes, or not pollution as such, but the CO2 coming out. And I think other days they are actually using chemtrails, whether it's on the backs of planes or whether they're sending up other devices to put them out there, because there's very little difference in temperature today from yesterday, yet we're seeing chemtrails. Up here you can see Hyde Park Flats. They've gone through a modernisation programme. You're not going to find the original Sheffields living in these, they'll probably not be able to afford it. Student type accommodation and for yuppies, well, why didn't they make it like that for the Sheffield folk who used to live in it? Probably don't want the Sheffield folk in Sheffield anymore. What was quite amazing last week, I was videoing somewhere and a couple of Muslim lads came up to me and they were all smiles and everything, and there was certainly nothing nasty meant, and said welcome to Sheffield, and they're saying that to Lord Deedar, welcome to Sheffield. I bet they didn't even know what a Deedar were. And my family tree goes back to, I've seen a copy of my uncle's book, and my father's side of the family tree goes back to about the 1750s, or it might be a bit earlier. I know my family went across to America on the Mayflower, and I'm getting people welcome to Sheffield. You'll not find a more Sheffield person than me. I might not speak like a Deedar, but my heart's in the city, always has been. And it's a crying shame to see Sheffield and every other city being destroyed like this, turned into, well, it looks like Legoland, doesn't it? I mean, it were alright as a kid playing with your Lego, but I certainly don't want to live in Legoland. I think I'm going to have to make I'm going to have to walk across the grass here. It's sort of a dead end. I'm just trying to show you what's going off, all modernised. Every building's like a square box. I like the individuality of how, if you went to Nottingham or you went to Doncaster, you wouldn't find the same shops there. The buildings will look different, they'd have more character, because architecture should lift people. But I find Sheffield becoming more and more oppressive. Must be, if you work in these buildings, it's like you get sad building syndrome or whatever. It's just concrete and metal. Not saying the old buildings weren't built with concrete and metal, it was more like brick and reinforced girders in them, but they have more character. Not every room was the same. You've got curves and various things in the actual way the buildings were built inside. So I'm coming back up. Into Pond Street now. I don't know what this is, another big building around Pond Street. I don't know if it's if it's commercial or whether it's going to be more flats. I'm guessing a feeling there's going to be flats in there. On this side you've got the Ponds Forge, and I'll just show you that. Sheffield held the World Student Games in 1991. I was quite proud at that time about it, but they've wasted the facilities. We had the Premier Athletics Stadium in the north of England, which they decided to shut down rather than make it commercially viable. And they built all over that now. So, but this was the international swimming pool, it still is, I think. With the Don Valley Athletic Arena. I think they said it were losing so much a year, or they were giving something to another organisation that was costing them that. Well, to me it could have been made commercially viable. They could have actually held for like cricket matches there for Yorkshire and various things, and originally they were having massive concerts there with 60,000 people in them. So, you know, I think if they want to make some uncommercially viable, because they've got another agenda coming up, they will do. But I think that stadium alone cost us 30 million. So they just trashed it. Just before it was closing down, I actually walked in and I said to one of the guys, "Can I take a few pictures?" He said, "I haven't seen you." So I have got pictures of this stadium on my blog just before it was knocked down. And my big thing is I wanted to see that become Sheffield Wednesday's football ground. They wanted remodelling to make it into a football stadium, and I'm on about making it into a proper football stadium, not one of these soulless frisbees. And I think it'd have been absolutely fantastic for Sheffield Wednesday. But I did go to see Derek Dooley at Bramall Lane about a merger at Wednesday United back in about 2000, and he said at that time he expected Wednesday United to move to the Don Valley in a joint venture, and that never came off. So we've got a little bit of history still up here. George Senior and Sons Limited, Ponds Forge. I'm guessing there was a forge there, stamping type forge. Back end of the swimming baths. Got the old Queen's Head here. I think that's probably one of the oldest, well, alleged oldest buildings in Sheffield. I think it's probably been made a bit plasticky on the inside because I think it went through some modernisation, so how they get away with it being a listed building. But same again, you can see these, like I said, I don't know if it's business use, offices, or whether it's flats or a combination of them. In fact, that is definitely business there because you can see the desks in it, so it's possible this will be business. So on the back end of Pond Street, I'm just going to show you the penny blight. That's the last thing I'm going to show you around here. It gives you an idea of what's happened around Pond Street, but I do say to you, go on Google search on Pond Street 1940s or 1950s and look at all the images for it, and just tell me, do you like Pond Street as it was then or as now, or do you think they could have actually blended it in more? Which I prefer. I like the modern stuff. I was into electronics myself back in the 70s, but the way it's all gone, dehumanised society. Didn't have to dehumanise it. So you can find the history on that on the internet. It'll tell you all about it. It's Saturday afternoon. United's playing at home, I think today at 3 o'clock. It said that on the parkway as I came down, and the bus station's empty. And there you've got the Penny Black. That's been around for as long as I can remember, but I'm assuming that one bit that would have been a lovely traditional pub, not a big concrete building like that. When there were back-to-back houses around here, I reckon that's probably survived as a name since then. See the flats up there, modernised flats. I'll just see if I can just show you. No, we're not going to be able to see it, I don't think. There's those flats on Flat Street again. I'm just going to see if I can see the top end of the bus station and just show you how empty it is from this angle. But like I said, United's playing at home. It's 12:30, 2.5 hours to the match, and you'd expect the bus station to be humming with people, wouldn't you? So that's it. We're just here. Used to be Star Sellers as we came in from work at 5 o'clock. Star was printed on York Street in Sheffield, and there used to be little vans picking up from the back of there, and then you'd have all Star Sellers all the way along here, and you could pick a Star up for about 10p. And just one last thing, back in the 80s, before the deregulation of the buses, it was 2p for children into Sheffield and 11p for adults from where I live. I think that was too cheap, but the way it's gone now, you're not encouraging people to come in on the buses. To me, I think fair price for using the buses would be about £2.50. Also, you need the buses to be coming in a, you know, like from where I live, in half an hour, not in an hour and a bit. I'm not going to sit on a bus, even at £2.50, if it's going to take me an hour and a bit to get in, because when I'm working, I don't want to be adding on to my day. So that's a quick view of Pond Street, surrounding area. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again later.